So, a lot of people got their panties in a wad about bringing whole milk back into schools. And I want to tell you why this is so important and how it actually affects children's brains. So, RFK and the MAHA movement recently made the push to get full fat milk back in schools, and it is looking like it's going to pass with bipartisan effort. But there's a lot of people still upset about it. And it's so funny to me because where is the uproar about the Pop Tarts and the Pizza Hut and the chips and all the ultra processed food and sugar in school cafeteria lines? You don't hear anyone getting upset about all the cereals they're eating for every day at breakfast, but then people are freaking out about bringing full fat milk into schools. So there was a bill passed in 2012 that made only low fat milk available to children as this supposed way to fight childhood obesity. But as I'm about to show you, the science is very clear that full fat dairy is not linked to childhood obesity and in fact can help prevent it. So if we rewind really quick, this whole war on saturated fat began in the 1950s with Ancel Keys' flawed research about fat and heart disease. And basically that led to this big public health movement towards promoting low fat diets to reduce obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. But the funny thing is that since then, we've seen a catastrophic increase in obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. And correlation does not equal causation, but clearly there is a link. And that reduction in animal fat in our diet has basically been replaced with sugar, seed oils, and ultra refined food. So as childhood obesity becomes more and more of an issue than it's ever been in history, it makes sense to revisit why are we telling kids that they can't have whole milk and why is fat so important for the development of a child in the first place. So the brain is made up of 60% fat, which makes it the fattiest organ in the body. So fat is crucial for brain development, vitamin absorption, energy metabolism, and those lipids and fats are the very building blocks of children's hormones. So kids need 30 to 40% of their diet to come from fat to support this super fast growing brain. And the lack of sufficient lipids can cause impaired cognition, behavioral issues, and reduced memory. Now, everything I'm saying is backed by data, and I'll link all those studies in the description below. But it's so important to remember that not all fats are created equal, and fat does not make kids fat. There are so many international studies that show that populations who consume higher amounts of full fat milk, cheese, yogurt, and butter actually have a lower risk of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Now, remember that the American government said we needed to go to low fat diets to prevent obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. One study in particular that I'll link below found that higher consumption of full fat cow milk was associated with less adipose fat, less fat tissue, and less risk of childhood obesity. There's another meta analysis that found that people who eat more dairy fat actually have a 50% lower risk of diabetes. And yet another study found that increased in full fat dairy consumption is associated with a lower risk of heart disease. So this war on animal fat may not be warranted. And clearly, since the low fat diet recommendations have gone into place, we have seen all of these health issues only getting worse, particularly in children, which is super tragic and really bad for the future of our country. So clearly we need more fat in our children's diets to support developing brains, but we need to be sure that they're not trans fats and refined vegetable oils that actually promote brain inflammation and neurodegeneration. We need those really healthy omega-3 fatty acids like olive oil, but also like full fat dairy, especially grass-fed organic dairy and butter, not the trans fat, poison, margarine, but real butter from grass-fed cows. In summary, bringing whole milk back into schools should not be something that people are upset about. It is so important for the nutrition of developing brains, and there's still going to be all the other options available if kids are going to make those choices. But as parents and as people who care about our health, we should obviously be educating ourselves on why fats are so crucial for everyone's brains and why this massive shift towards the low fat diet has actually led to an increase in all the diseases it says it was supposedly going to prevent. Ultimately, I am pro whole milk. It's too bad we can't get grass-fed organic raw milk into schools, but hey, we're going a step in the right direction. And the more that we can get children satiated from healthy animal fats, the less likely they are to consume ultra-processed food and sugar that are actually at the root cause of childhood obesity. So let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more about nourishing your wild wellness.